After months of deployment overseas, Marine Sergeant Daniel dreamed of one thing: coming home to the excited barks of his 3 loyal dogs. But when his truck finally pulled into the driveway, the scene that greeted him wasn't joy, it was heartbreak. Huddled together on the porch were Rex, Duke, and Bella, shivering in the cold, their once strong bodies frail, their eyes filled with both relief and sorrow. They wagged their tails weakly, but something was terribly wrong. Daniel rushed toward them, calling their names, his chest tightening with dread. Then he looked up and froze. The front door was wide open, the house dark and silent. What he discovered inside would leave even this battle-hardened Marine in tears. After 8 long months overseas, Marine Sergeant Daniel finally turned onto the dirt road that led to his home. He had dreamed of this moment every night, stepping out of his truck, hearing the familiar barks of his 3 dogs, and feeling them jump into his arms. But as the old farmhouse came into view, something felt off. The yard was quiet, too quiet. Normally, his dogs, Rex, Duke, and Bella, would race toward the gate before he even parked. Now, only the wind moved through the tall grass. Daniel frowned, turning off the engine. "Guys," he called out, stepping onto the gravel. No sound, no bark, just silence. He walked slowly toward the porch, his boots crunching against the earth. That's when he saw them, 3 figures huddled near the door, barely lifting their heads. His breath caught in his throat. "Rex, Duke, Bella," he whispered. The dogs were shivering, their fur dirty, their eyes sunken but filled with relief. They had waited. For him, Daniel's chest tightened. Something was terribly wrong, and when he looked up at the front door, he realized why. It was wide open. Daniel dropped his duffel bag and rushed to his dogs. They tried to stand, tails wagging weakly, but their legs trembled beneath them. Rex, his oldest and strongest, managed to crawl forward, pressing his head against Daniel's chest. The Marine knelt down, his hands trembling as he ran his fingers through their dirty fur. They were thin, too thin, and their ribs showed through their coats. "What happened to you?" Daniel whispered, his voice breaking. Bella let out a soft whimper, licking his hand as if to comfort him instead. Duke's paw was bandaged with what looked like a torn piece of cloth, old and frayed. Someone had tried to patch him up, but who? The porch told its own story. Scratch marks covered the wooden boards near the door. There were broken nails, bits of torn fabric, and dried blood stains smeared across the steps. Daniel's pulse quickened. These weren't just signs of neglect. Something violent had happened here. He looked toward the open door, the warm light flickering from inside. "Stay," he said softly, though the dogs didn't move an inch. They only watched him, ears low, eyes filled with warning. Daniel took a deep breath and stepped toward the entrance, whatever waited inside. His life was about to change forever. Daniel pushed the door open cautiously. It creaked, a long, eerie sound that echoed through the silent house. The warm glow from a single bulb flickered weakly, casting trembling shadows across the walls. His boots crunched on broken glass. The living room was a wreck. Furniture overturned, photo frames shattered, drawers pulled out. It looked like a storm had torn through his home. That he slowly picked up a picture frame lying face down on the floor. It was cracked, but behind the glass was a photo of him with his 3 dogs, taken right before deployment. His throat tightened. He gently placed it on the counter and continued deeper inside. In the kitchen, he froze. The back door had been forced open, hinges bent, wood splintered. Blood smeared along the lower half of the door told him the dogs had fought desperately to defend their home. He turned toward the hallway, his heart pounding. Muddy boot prints led toward the bedroom. Fresh, uneven, and unfamiliar. Someone had been there recently. Then he heard it, a faint sound from down the hall. A soft creak. Daniel's hand instinctively moved to the side of his belt. Reaching for the sidearm he wasn't wearing anymore, the Marine in him went still. He knew danger when he felt it. And it was close. Daniel moved cautiously through the hallway, every creak of the wooden floor echoing in the tense silence. He reached his bedroom and pushed the door open slowly. The room was in shambles. Drawers pulled out, clothes scattered, mattress half torn apart. Someone had been searching for something. That he crouched down near the bed, scanning the floor for any sign of what they might have left behind. That's when he saw it, half hidden beneath a fallen blanket, a small flash drive, smeared with dirt and blood. He picked it up carefully, his heart pounding. What were you trying to protect? He murmured, thinking of his dogs. They had stayed behind, fought back, and somehow survived. But against what? Or who? In the corner of the room, he noticed claw marks deep in the wooden floorboards, as if the dogs had been dragging something heavy toward the door. He followed the trail of scuffs and scratches back to the hallway, straight to the broken front door. The realization hit him like a wave. Whatever had happened here, his dogs hadn't just been victims. They had saved something important enough for someone to destroy everything to find it. And now, Daniel held it in his hand. Daniel sat at the kitchen table, the flash drive clutched tightly in his hand. His laptop hummed as he plugged it in, the screen glowing in the dim light of the ruined house. For a moment, nothing happened, just a folder with a single file. He clicked it, and his breath caught. Dozens of documents and videos appeared on the screen. Bank statements, coded messages, photographs of men he didn't recognize, all tied to illegal trafficking and stolen weapons. His pulse quickened as he scrolled through, realizing this wasn't random. Someone had been using his neighborhood as a cover. His house had been broken into not because of him, but because his dogs had gotten in the way. One video file made his stomach twist. Grainy security footage showed figures trying to sneak through his yard at night. The first flash of movement came from his dogs, Rex, Duke, and Bella, charging forward, barking ferociously. He watched as they fought with everything they had, forcing the intruders to drop the bag they carried before fleeing into the night. Daniel's eyes stung with tears. His dogs hadn't just been waiting for him. They had defended his home, his name, and uncovered something that could put dangerous men behind bars. They saved me, he whispered. They saved everything. The weight of the truth pressed heavily on Daniel's chest. He closed the laptop and turned toward the porch, where his 3 dogs still lay curled together, their eyes fixed on the door as if guarding him even now. His throat tightened as he stepped outside. Rex struggled to stand, his tail wagging weakly. Bella pressed against his leg, licking his hand, while Duke leaned into him despite the bandage on his paw. Daniel knelt down, wrapping his arms around all 3 of them, pulling them close. Tears blurred his vision, slipping down his cheeks as he whispered, "You saved me. You saved this home. And I wasn't here for you. But you never gave up on me." The next day, investigators swarmed the property. The flash drive's evidence led to multiple arrests, uncovering a network that had been hiding in plain sight. The chief shook Daniel's hand firmly, but his eyes lingered on the dogs. They did what no one else could. "They're heroes," he said. News outlets picked up the story. Pictures of Rex, Duke, and Bella sitting proudly beside their Marine father spread across the country. Messages of admiration poured in. But for Daniel, the only thing that mattered was the family sitting on his porch. Weeks later, the scars on his dogs began to heal. Their strength returned, their eyes brighter with each passing day. Daniel had faced combat before, but nothing compared to this homecoming. Nothing compared to the loyalty and love of the 3 who had waited, fought, and endured for him. As he sat on the porch one quiet evening, his dogs resting at his feet, Daniel whispered the words he had carried in his heart since that first moment back home. "You're not just my dogs. You're my family, my heroes."